This is the Under the Ring Report.
Straight edge means they're drug-free, alcohol-free, and better than you.
John the Flesh Wound and Cousin Tom.
Welcome, wrestling fans, once again to another edition of the Under the Ring Report. Tom, it's been a few weeks since we've been together, actually, face-to-face. How you doing?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm a little, I wouldn't say disappointed. I am looking for the next big thing to get excited about, I guess. I mean, I spent an entire summer, and many fans can attest to this, checking Twitter on a daily basis to see what Starrcast was going to announce or All In was going to announce.
Yep.
And spent pretty much from the time we bought tickets in May up until now, counting down days like a little kid at Christmas. And now it can't, there was like this hangover period for like the last week where it's like, oh, it's over. I don't have anything else to do.
I know. And you know what? I have to say, it being the first wrestling convention I was ever part of, I thought that was fun, really fun. And I know there's others that do the same thing, but I like the ability just to kind of rub shoulders with superstars and stuff. Like you were telling me, as I'm sitting there and I'm watching this panel on War Games.
Right.
And you're like, after we're done, you're like, you got up to go to talk to your wife real quick to make sure, you know, everything was cool. You're like, hey, you know who was right behind you, right? No. Diamond Dallas Page. You know, and that's what's kind of cool is the amount of stars that we remember as children that kind of freely walk through and they'll say hi to you. I mean, we're outside and there's Eric Bischoff. I'm like, how you doing, sir? You know, and things like that. You just kind of run into these people. And I thought that was kind of cool as a wrestling fan to have that type of access to a lot of people that you grew up with.
Well, like the weigh-ins. You know, we were sitting there watching the weigh-ins, which was a big spectacle and a lot of fun. And, you know, one row in front of me, I have Matt Stryker, Justin Roberts, and Alicia Tout.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, and I didn't say anything to them. And they were just, you know, they were there watching as fans also. And I wasn't going to bother them. But it was just so cool to just walk down the hallway. And like, I remember you tapped me on the shoulder and like, there's Jerry Lynn. I'm like, what? And then I turned to look at Jerry Lynn. And then Kevin Sullivan walks past me on my right-hand side. You know, it was kind of amazing. And then going back to being a kid again, that's what it made me feel like was as soon as we got there, I'm like, I got to go meet Sergeant Slaughter. And, you know, that was like bucket list. Because, you know, I've seen Sergeant Slaughter since I was as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
And he was nice and gracious and took a couple photos and, you know, friendly. And
I love that he took two. You know what I mean? He did you in the camel clutch. And then before you walked away, he's like, wait a minute. You got to have the Hall of Fame ring.
Yeah, and I don't know if everybody got that. I'm sure maybe they do, but I thought it was cool. And it was just like, oh, wow, that was just, you know, I can't believe I'm up close. You know, and I don't want to sound like a crazy obsessed fan. Which
you are.
You know, I'm obviously a fan or I wouldn't go to a convention for wrestling, but it's just like you said, people that you've watched for all these years and then you're right there with them.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, we saw Bischoff in the parking lot. We walked in so I could try on Flair's robe, and there's Medusa on her left-hand side, and, you know, Lex Luger was sitting over there. And
I'm talking to a referee that I had no clue who he was until you told me. I mean, we're sitting there. It's funny. I'm just having a regular conversation with this guy, and we're talking about Dusty's boots. And that's when you come up behind me, and I still don't remember the name, but you'll go ahead.
He was the old NWA referee.
And I had no clue. But I mean, that's what I'm saying is what was cool is you had a chance to talk to people that normal times you're never going to have that chance. And I liked it. It was a great thing. And besides that, as I talked to you about the panels that I had actually been in part of before you got there, and we actually set in on a couple, that was really cool. But I think just having all these people in one room, but the one thing I've learned is if they do this again, I'm going to have to make sure I limit the amount of autographs I do.
Yeah, well...
Go ahead. You tell the story.
Well, we had a lot booked, and they had made sure to say, don't worry, everyone's going to make it. You're going to get your autographs in the allotted time. Well, on Saturday, we had 3. We had the NWO signing. We had the Four Horsemen Brainbusters signing, Rey Mysterio. And then when they had that flash sale, you picked up Pentagon. So we had 4, actually, I guess. Correct myself. So we had 4. But then Mysterio and Phoenix and Pentagon had airline issues and were like an hour late. Well, and then on top of that, Kota Ibushi got lost at the airport and lost all his stuff.
Yeah, that was a major one right there.
So they had to move their signing, instead of it being on Sunday, got moved to Saturday and pushed everything around. So we did the NWO early and thought we had plenty of time,
But
then realized our photo was crap and had to go back through the line the second time.
But that was actually cool because then we got to hear a little banter between them.
They were getting a little testy at the end there.
Yeah, they were getting a little testy. Yeah, I don't blame them. I don't blame them all. Unfortunately, there was great things about Starrcast, but there was also points where you could tell this was their first rodeo, and and that happens. It happens. So there were some things that they needed to do a little better job of.
I'll jump back now. So if we did Four Horsemen, and you're like, don't worry, we'll get Mysterio, because Mysterio was supposed to be 10:30 to 12:30, and then he didn't arrive till 11:30.
Yep.
So there wasn't really an announcement made, but we assumed it was going to be the same time frame.
Yep.
And so we got done, and I remember we hustled it out of the hallway.
At 1 o'clock.
Yeah, at 1 o'clock. Run down, and the door is locked. And I shook the door, and luckily someone opened the door to let a lady in a baby stroller out. And he's like, "Do you have paid tickets?" I'm like, "Yes, we do. Yes, we do." And so he like yells, "There's two more. It's the last two." So we got our meet and greet with Mysterio. We didn't get him to sign anything, but I wasn't really worried about that. I just wanted to.
Yeah, you wanted the photo. Yeah.
Yeah, we wanted the photo. So we made it by the skin of our teeth, basically. So I would say all in all, I had a great time with Starrcast. That was just a lot of fun.
I did too. And like I said, the one thing though is I think next time, if they do another one, I would totally go. But I think I'd cut down on the amount of autographs I have in one day, because we did miss a lot of cool panels because we spent a lot of time in line because we had so many things to take care of on Saturday. I mean, Friday was great because we had our choice to do whatever, and we got to watch different things, which was cool. But Saturday, there was a few things I really wanted to see, but we had to be in line. We were probably in line.
We spent half our day in line.
4 or 5 hours we were in line for autographs because we had booked so many autographs during that day and really didn't think about it.
No, but when everyone was following Starrcast Twitter, as soon as things would go on sale, people were jumping on it. And then they did that flash sale, which everybody, they were like you and me, like, "Oh, that's half off. I'm buying it." Well, who looks at what's available before they buy? Everyone just bought. I saw all kinds of people on Twitter, through Starrcast Twitter site, that was like, "Hey, I've got an extra, well, not extra, but I'm selling this one. I've got too much going on. I can't do it."
Well, and that's it, because I think once people realized what they were doing on top of the autograph signings, that's where the real meat of Starrcast was, because a lot of times these WrestleCons or whatever, they're mostly just autograph sessions. That's all they are. And I think people went into it that way. And then once you realize, there's panels on the death of WCW, there's panels on TNA, the Four Horsemen, all these things, that's when everybody's like, shit, how can I get to all these things and at this? And I mean, Saturday was a mess for us because we spent all morning doing autograph sessions, and then we had to get to the All Out party, because the only reason we bought those is because we wanted the cool t-shirts. We didn't care about the party itself.
Yeah, and to show up to get the t-shirt.
Yeah, so we got there and got the shirt, and then just kind of mulled around till they opened the gates. That's where I look at that. I'm like, okay, we'll next time we will be a little smarter on how that's all done, but it was still fun. I mean, we haven't done something like that since we were kids. No,
and like just walking down the hallway of the hotel when everyone's out. So like the one main quarter, I remember they had all the tables set up for the different wrestlers who were doing meet and greets. And it's like you had Shannon Moore sitting there,
Billy Gunn,
Tennille Dashwood, the Blue Meanie was there. Yep. I saw Disco Inferno.
Well, you know what? The Blue Meanie, and I think that was before you got there. I was watching him do one of the podcasts, and him and his wife drove by car from Philadelphia. 21 hours. Wow. Yeah.
There's a haul.
And I guess he's not big on flying, so I was like, whoa, that is dedication.
Well, I was going to say, while we were in that hallway where everybody's sitting, a door opens up to my right, and I look in, and there's the Stooges. There's Patterson and Briscoe.
Yep.
And they're talking. I'm like, hey, there's the Stooges. And
it's crazy.
James Ellsworth was walking around with his intergender title, and I can't say enough good things for a first-time promotion like that with what Conrad Thompson put together. I'm pretty impressed. I know there was people complaining because of schedule mix-ups and things, but
That
you
shit
can't control
happens.
weather, and
Yeah.
you can't control the airlines.
No.
So
And that's it. You have to go with the flow because unfortunately some folks aren't going to make it on time. But I think that it was a perfect companion to All In. We could spend a whole show talking about All In also, but I think our expectations were even exceeded with what happened at All In.
yeah, I didn't think that would be possible. But sitting there watching that show from top to bottom, I don't have any complaints on it.
No.
And if anyone's watched Being the Elite, that was like an entire Being the Elite. It paid off every little thing that they've been working on for months.
Well, you know what's funny too is as soon as I got home, I actually went and once I found it was up, I went and purchased another month of New Japan World so I could watch the show from their angle. Where we were, and I will say this, if you watch a show at Sears Center, there's not a bad seat there. That is a perfect arena for wrestling because, we were on the very last row, and I thought we had awesome seats because we got to see everything going on, but I wanted to see what people at home. And I'll tell you what, there was a couple things that were kind of disappointing in the aspect that the amount of noise from the crowd sometimes didn't translate. No, you couldn't see sometimes the pops. I mean, you could hear them, but I don't think you could notice the pop. Like I watched on YouTube the WGN stuff, and when Flip Gordon won, I don't think you could really tell how much that arena popped when he won.
Well, I agree because I DVR'd that because I get WGN.
Yeah.
And I came home the next day and I watched the pre-show or the 0 hour with my son, and I didn't think they did it justice as far as the noise in that building.
Yeah.
Like that battle royal was loud and rowdy and fun.
That was one of the best battle royals I've seen in a long time. And I'll tell you what, remind me, I will send you my password stuff so you can watch the rest of All In because your son does need to watch it.
Well, and
except for the Joey Ryan thing. I mean, I love that. That was one of my highlights, but I don't know if you want to. I don't know if you want to explain to him about.
No, I don't.
That's Joey Ryan, professional dick wrestler.
Yeah, no, I don't even want to approach that subject with him. But,
But hey, whatever. I mean, I've seen Joey Ryan wrestle twice already this year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The indies are strong. But yeah, that battle royal was fantastic. It was fun. There was a lot of spots in it. It was just, and the crowd was going crazy. I was going crazy. By the time that show was over, and you heard me the next day, my wife was on the phone.
Yeah.
She's like, are you losing your voice? You don't sound the same.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, that's the most fun I have ever had.
Well, it was so easy to cheer everything that we watched. I mean, I felt bad for the opening match.
It was Matt Cross and MJF.
Well, I felt bad for him in a way, though, because I think the crowd had cheered so much for the first two matches. There was no real story for these guys that had been told on Being Elite. So everybody they enjoyed the match, but they were kind of at that moment like, okay, we're all going to relax for a minute and take a breath because we've expended so much energy so far, Well,
and I remember you leaning over to me during the Flip Gordon Jay Lethal match, like, oh my gosh, everyone's just exhausted.
Yeah, and it's true.
This match is great, and everyone's just kind of like emotionally, we were also
spent,
pumped.
yeah.
But I still love that match. I still love Black Machismo and Brother from Another Mother.
Well, and I think my favorite thing, though, I mean, as we're watching the Pentagon Jr. and Omega match, when the lights go out, I'm sitting there, I'm taking photos, and your first thing is, the tattoos don't match. The tattoos don't match. I'm like, oh my God.
I'm a wrestling nerd.
You were yelling like super loud, and all these people near us are like looking over, and like you knew, I think, before anyone else did, but you're just screaming at the top of your lungs. I'm just sitting there taking photos, and you're like, they don't match. Oh my God, it's Jericho.
Yeah, can you say mark out?
Yeah, you marked out pretty hard on that one. But I tell you what, been to a lot of different wrestling events, and I came away thoroughly fulfilled. Everything that we've watched over the last 6 months for Being Elite, it all got nicely wrapped up pretty much. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. You had a payoff for the story, and you didn't leave going,
I didn't think there was any like stinker of matches either. I thought all the matches were good. I know they had to cut the main event short, but you could blame a match, but you also have people in the back that are keeping time.
Yeah.
So there's there's more than one person to blame. Don't just blame the guys in the ring.
Well, the sad thing too, and it came out later, was that the main person who was supposed to help them with producing the show was Jory Mercury, and evidently he got arrested at Starrcast, and it wasn't because he didn't do anything, but he was sleeping in his car, and someone evidently called the cops on him. He had an outstanding warrant, and that's how he got put in jail. So I mean, I feel bad for the guy because he was supposed to help produce because he's had experience and helped those guys, and so he didn't get to show up there to help out with that.
Yeah, well, show must go on,
and I think they did a great job. And you know what? I hope they do something else. As successful as this was for them, I hope they do another one. And you know what? Wherever it is, give us plenty of time because you know what? I would travel to see another one. I really would because to see
it was that good.
Well, and the thing is to see wrestlers that you normally don't get to see. That's the other thing. You know what? You can go watch a WWE event and you're going to get a chance. Every 6 months, so and so is going to come right back to your town and you're going to see him. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But
I can already predict what spot I'm going to see.
Yeah, but the thing of it is, to see Okada, I never saw him before. To see Omega, never saw him before. Those are the things that are exciting, is to see wrestlers that are considered at the top of their game. And you got to pay to watch them wrestle some of their best matches ever in that arena.
And I will say, I'm a big Marty Scurll fan.
Mm-hmm.
I love Okada, but during that match, I love the match. It was a good match.
205.
I think I heard you at least 5 times say, "Oh my God, Okada is so good. Oh my God, Okada is so good." Like over and over, and which. There's no denying it. I mean, he absolutely is.
Yeah.
And it was just funny because, I had my marked out moment for Jericho, and I think you might have had yours with Okada.
Like I said, that was it was Omega and Okada were 2 of the main reasons I wanted to go. And then later when Pentagon, because you know what? I've been a big fan of Pentagon since he first showed up on Lucha Underground. Mm-hmm. And those were some of those guys that you're like, yeah. And the other cool thing, I thought the story that with Cody winning the NWA title was phenomenal because to me it was cool because I'd never seen Cody wrestle live before. And in 88, I saw his dad wrestle. So it's kind of cool to go, so I saw your dad wrestle this time and now I get to see you wrestle. I think that's cool. So there was all little things. And I thought the sprinkling in, getting to see the Diamond Cutter from DDP, getting to see Tommy Dreamer show up a little bit here and there. Those were cool.
And he had the yellow polka dots on.
Yeah.
And the bionic elbow.
Yeah. Bubba Ray coming out. All these guys being involved. I thought those were cool moments. And also some of the other people that maybe don't get as much headlines, like the 4-way with the women's match.
Oh, that was awesome, man.
They tore that place down. And you know what was nice? Not a single person got up. Not a single person was booing. They cheered them on and they put on a hell of a show. And what was her name? Jordan Grace in
yeah, she did a heck of a job.
Holy shit, her and Cage together. The spot she took, and then when she lifted him up and squatted him and threw him out of the ring, those are moments that you were never going to see in a WWE ring ever.
Those 2 are supposed to face off again sometime coming up soon. And
nice.
then the NWA
Are you going there?
It's crossed my mind, but I haven't.
I just wonder because that's kind of close for you. So
it's a little less than 3 hours for me, so it's a doable thing, but I don't know
if your wife will let you.
Well, I don't want to press my luck.
Nah, I hear you. I hear you. But no, like I said, overall, it was a fun time. We had a blast. And I don't know about you, but I would be totally down for another All In.
Oh,
if it's not, would. And if it's not in Chicago, I'd figure it out and go there because you know what? That's something that will change the landscape of professional wrestling because I think that shows that you don't need a WWE to put that many people's butts in seats. And people will show up.
Started to have an effect.
Yeah. You don't need, because right now, when they do these WrestleCons, they're piggybacked on a WWE event. And I think Starrcast also showed that, hey, if you have enough people interested in an independent show, you can do your own weekend and people will go apeshit over it.
Yeah, it was a huge turnout. And then, the latest All In promotion I saw wasn't for an indie promotion. It was for Total Divas.
Yeah.
Have you seen the new commercial?
I've
just caught
heard
it the other day.
I've heard people laugh about it. Yeah.
Oh my God, the ladies are all in, and they mentioned all in like 5 times in the tagline.
They did that before All In was actually on, and Cody was laughing about it.
Yeah, well, they're still running it now. They're increasing it because I guess the show's getting ready to start up again this weekend or whenever. I don't know.
Nobody cares. Yeah, nobody cares. But
I tell you another thing. Mentioned WWE. There was a former WWE guy in the area doing a signing on, was it Friday? Was Punk? He was at Pro Wrestling Tees.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
And I heard a lot of people talking about Punk, and some were talking about, well, is he going to show up, or will he do something?
Yeah.
And I know there was speculation that like Bernard, the business bear, had be Punk inside the suit, and then that didn't happen. And then when the lights went off, they thought maybe Punk could be in the Pentagon suit, and that didn't happen.
Okay, but here's my question. It's been 4 years since this guy left professional wrestling. Okay.
Right.
And he's pretty much, hell, he just did like a week ago. He came out and said the same thing. He's done with professional wrestling. There's nothing that he needs to prove, and he doesn't care about it. So why is it that after 4 years, people still pine for this guy to come back? Let me before I let you answer, let me put one thing clear. Okay. I enjoyed the Punk years, but you know what? I guess I'm kind of one of those people that once a certain moment in time moves on, I move on with it. It's not like I go, oh, we're Stone Cold, bring back Stone Cold. It's the same way with Punk. Punk did a lot of revolutionary things during his time, and I think he ushered in the idea of bringing in indie darlings like Daniel Bryan and people like that into WWE, right. But I don't pine for his return, and I just want to know why fans are so crazy about it. I mean, Chicago hijacks WWE shows chanting his name. Why?
Okay, well, I'm going to give you my take on it. Well, first, his most famous promo he did on John Cena, where
the pipe bomb
promo, where he broke the fourth wall and waved at the camera and mentioned Colt Cabana and all that stuff. That was the promo that got me back into watching wrestling again, because I had not been watching it for some time, and then the boys are small, and I heard about it and seeked it out on YouTube and was like, oh, that was awesome. And then started watching again from there, and then the boys started watching. But the reason I think everyone pines for him is that guy was your, whatever they called it, the Universal Champion. He was your heavyweight champ on Raw for over a year. But the entire time the guy was your heavyweight champ, he never got the billing that every heavyweight champ for the previous 20 plus years has received from WWE. For the longest I can remember, if you were the heavyweight champ, you came out at 9 o'clock, cut a promo on somebody, or they cut a promo on you, you defended your title at 9:45, and that was the last thing we saw going off the air, was either you winning your match or losing by disqualification, something happening. But the title holder was the last person you saw for the build to the next pay-per-view. Then you cut to Punk. The whole time he's your heavyweight champ, he'd come on the 8 o'clock hour and wrestle. And then when it got close to 9:30 or 10, they tried out John Cena and his U.S. champ crap or whatever gimmick he was doing at the time. And if you go back and look at the different pay-per-views during that time, all the main events was Cena. But Cena wasn't your heavyweight champ during that time.
But you know why, though? It's all about merchandise and money. And
I know Cena sells more merchandise.
And I have a feeling about that. And that's kind of like why this is all tied together. CM Punk, in a way, appealed to a lot of the Attitude Era fans. Sure. Because there are parts of CM Punk's character that are very anti-establishment, very Stone Cold Steve Austin-like. You know what I mean?
Well, right. I'll give you my one adult perspective.
Okay.
Here's a guy who's your heavyweight champ, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been your heavyweight champ. Then you're going to have him drop the title to The Rock, who hadn't been on the show in a year, all because you want to set up a WrestleMania feud with John Cena. So you use the guy is there day in, day out, which is part of, if you listen to the podcast, that's part of the reason he got so mad and quit.
Mm-hmm.
He was there day in, day out, and never got treated like the main event guy should have been treated. Instead, you're Mr. Dependable, so we're gonna ride your shoulders and ride your back and let you do all the heavy lifting and get us to WrestleMania. But when WrestleMania comes around, you just go have a nice match with Jericho or Undertaker or somebody, and then we're gonna main event Cena and The Rock.
Okay.
So and as an adult fan, that irritated me. Like, I don't want to see The Rock and Cena, and I definitely didn't want to see it twice.
So here's my question. This is just kind of wondering if they're all attached. So you were pissed off at that, and I imagine too too, the Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns thing set you off, right?
Sure.
So you were more Daniel Bryan, right?
Yeah, I was.
And the reason I asked that is because it's all coming full circle. I feel that the reason All In is so big is because it has focused on those type of fans. The fan that has always been pushed aside by the WWE in the last 15 years because they make more money off kids. They make more money off parents with kids that are willing to spend. They don't care about the person who used to buy every pay-per-view and buy all the shit when he was 20 years old when WCW and WWE was around. They don't care as much about that fan now that he's 45.
Right.
And I wonder if that's why All In was so successful, because you know what? While we were there were a lot of guys our age. There were a lot of younger people too, but I was amazed by the amount of people our age. And when you sat there and talked with them, they knew. They talked about all these things. They were fans of WCW, WWE. And I think they all have that same feeling as though they've been abandoned, because they were also the same people that were Hulkamaniacs when they were kids. And I think they feel like they've been abandoned because they're not 8 years old and buying stupid toys.
I was going to say, I felt like that audience was like a good 60-40, you know.
Yeah.
It wasn't equal, but we weren't that much outnumbered.
No, and that's what I think, though, too, because, I mean, when we were walking through Starrcast, I mean, hell, that guy was talking, well, I can't remember his name right now, but I know he was dressed as Marty Scurll, and he was part of a cosplay for the Bullet Club in Chicago as I was talking to him. And, you know, he was into it. He was like, I think he was probably in his early 30s, but there wasn't like super young people very much at all. You know, I mean, you didn't see little kids running around. There were guys in their 30s and 40s. So that's why I wonder if this is why the independent scene and as you're saying there too, CM Punk per se has been known as he's the guy put on the pedestal per se, because he represents everything that people want the WWE to be, and CM Punk went against everything that WWE was at that time. You know what I mean?
Right. And your other thing is he just up and abruptly was done. You know, just said I'm done, and that's it. And most of the time when something like that happens, it's due to an injury, like with Edge. And Daniel Bryan just a few years ago, like, everyone kind of pines for him, but knows, okay, I'm not really going to get him because they can't.
Yeah.
But with him, everybody knew, like, he can still wrestle, but he does not want to. And so, and I think that's part of the draw. That's why everyone's like, you know, maybe we can talk him into it again.
Well, and that's what I find funny. I mean, I did a poll on Twitter, okay, just to get a read from people, okay? And it was, would you like to see CM Punk back in wrestling? 64% of the people who answered that question want to see him back in WWE. Yeah, even though the guy doesn't give two shits about wrestling right now, and I get why. So that's kind of why I wanted to take that show this route, because even though we were talking about our fun at Starrcade and All In, that Starrcast, yeah, I'm going to keep calling it whatever. But you know what I mean, though? The problem of it is that was always kind of the undertone. You always heard people. You saw a lot of CM Punk shirts because we were in Chicago. People who had actually had a chance to meet him on Friday, and that was kind of the undertone during the whole time. And I think the Chris Jericho surprise appearance blew people away, because they really weren't talking about Jericho. They were thinking it was going to be Punk. They were talking about Punk 3 months out, hoping it was going to be Punk. Yeah, and so I think when Jericho showed up, it was a big surprise, which was cool. But I think it wasn't who they were hoping was going to show up.
Yeah, no, I saw the Twitter talk about, you know, everybody's hoping it was Punk, or, well, was hoping he'd show up or do something. But, you know, I was not disappointed it was Jericho. I'll say that much.
Well, before we call it a night, I actually had a chance to talk to our good friend Scary Terry, who hasn't been on the show in a while. And I also pondered the same question to him, because you know what? He is a diehard CM Punk fan. He's got the figures, he's got all this bullshit, and he's probably more hardcore than you are for CM Punk. We'll take a few minutes to talk to him and find out what the hell is going through his mind and why he's still in love with CM Punk, even though it's kind of like a jilted boyfriend or girlfriend, and that person doesn't want to talk to you anymore, but you still ponder and go after them after 4 years. It's kind of weird.
Burned at the altar.
Evidently.
All right, we're happy to have a guest in the show. That's right. Somebody actually wants to be on the show, so.
My pleasure.
That's right. Scary effing Terry back on the show. How the hell are you?
Semi-lucid. That's about the best I hope for most days. But yes.
That's good. Yeah, we only look for the top guests, okay?
Yes.
Anyway, this week we are talking about
probably the easiest way to put it is the jilted boyfriend, per se.
Yeah.
You know, we've all been there. You love that person, and then they left, forsaken you, and just didn't give a shit about you anymore.
Now, granted, that happened for good reason because I was an absolute piece of shit boyfriend to pretty much anyone and everyone that I've dated. I'm as surprised at anyone else that I've been happily married for. See, that's one of the things that makes me a terrible boyfriend.
See, that's good.
Don't remember. What year is this? Oh yeah, it'll be 18 years this October.
You don't have to worry. She will never hear this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the missus is not a wrestling fan.
Okay, but what we're talking about then is, even though that happened, you didn't pine away for that person for years and years and years, correct?
Just for a little bit,
but not like
dependent on
4
the booty.
or 5 years. What I'm getting around to is CM Punk.
Oh.
So, no matter what, there are fans out there that want CM Punk back, want to see him on TV, and CM Punk has pretty much said in no uncertain terms, he hates wrestling, he wants nothing to do with it. So I know you're a big CM Punk fan.
Huge fan. Love CM Punk.
And I'm trying to pick people's brains. Why? Why do you pine for a person who doesn't give a shit about the sport anymore?
Okay. Now, as previously stated, I would not call my relationships as a jilted lover healthy. So I'm gonna
You're supposed to be straight edge. It helps.
I'm prefacing all of that. Okay, here's the thing with CM Punk. It's not who he is, okay? It's not who he is today.
Okay.
Yes, he hates professional wrestling. He has clearly stated time and again that he wants nothing to do with it ever again. I get that. The heartbreaking thing for me about CM Punk, Carlos Manuel Punk. I know that's not his name, but that's what I'm calling him.
All right.
Okay.
I like that. So Carlos
Manuel Punk.
Yeah.
The heartbreaking thing for me is not the loss of this grumpy, I want to be a UFC fighter asshole. I get it. I'm not broken up about that. What busts me up about him is the potential. You know what I mean? This isn't like this is like this is like losing the girlfriend who had to move away because she, I don't know, enlisted in the military, or maybe she, you know, was secretly an alien the whole time and had to go back to her people to save the planet. I like it. I had a very
holy shit.
I had some wild relationships.
Take the mask off. You're Vince Russo.
Oh, bro, let me tell you something, bro. This is the hottest angle. But like, it's the one where look, CM Punk didn't break my heart.
Okay.
WWE's complete and utter misuse of his character broke my heart first, and then broke his heart, and then he GTFO'd with his GTS, and that's it. And then no mas Carlos Manuel Punk for us. And that sucks, man, because it's not like the guy doesn't have miles left on him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look, if you're going to go in the octagon and hang and bang with, you know, a bunch of people who like punch people in the face for fun, like, and they're not acting, like when they punch you, they mean to hurt you. It's so if he has the ability to do that, and granted lose, but the ability to do that, to even hang in there with a few minutes, he's got miles left on him. And the fact that he will not spend any of those miles in a wrestling ring, oh man, that sucks so bad. Because, I mean, dude, could you imagine CM Punk, heel CM Punk in today's WWE? Because WWE's heel game ain't great right now, man. Oh, could you imagine? And again, this is my fevered imaginings here. Here's CM Punk, the guy who got screwed over by the authority and by all things WWE corporate. He comes in and just sabotages the whole thing. And that is a storyline that I will buy into hook, line, and sinker. Here's the other thing that makes his heel game strong AF. What if? What if his whole, I'm never going to wrestle for WWE again. I'm never. He's just working the heel game extra strong. Extra strong. That let me dream, John. Let me dream.
Oh my God.
Please come back, Punk.
Well, all right. So I get it. it's a moment in wrestling that you're in love with. You know, it's the moment where Punk won the belt and took it and left.
Perfect.
It's the reign that he had for so long. But I still find it sad to me that when you go to Chicago, CM Punk chant all the time. Mm-hmm. The crowd can't get over it. It's been 4.5 freaking years. The guy's not coming back. And I get it too, because like I said, 2.5 weeks ago, I was in Chicago for All In. There were people at the convention, Punk's going to probably be underneath the bear suit. Mm. No, just because he did an autograph signing. There's a point where you have to cut bait. How long did Rock fans give up on him coming back? They didn't have that same connection, and The Rock was really a bigger star than CM Punk. But I don't think there was ever that same crazy ex-boyfriend-girlfriend thing going on that there is with CM Punk.
The circumstances around his departure are so unique, though.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, okay? When Stone Cold left, it's because he was being a spoiled brat.
And beating his wife.
Well, there is that. When Rocky left, he went to go make movies, okay? Cena takes his break to make movies.
Uh-huh.
Bret Hart gets screwed over by Vince McMahon and F's off to WCW, okay? Yeah. But the circumstances around Punk, here's a guy who was pushed reluctantly at best by the brass. All those other cats that I mentioned pushed full force by the brass. Rocky got the push. Austin got the push. Hart got the push. CM Punk's push came as a result of pure organics from the crowd. The crowd just organically getting behind him, face or heel. They booed the hell out of him as a heel. They cheered the hell out of him as a face. The only other, it's a unique circumstance for WWE. Imagine if Daniel Bryan, after he got screwed over, if Daniel Bryan, instead of getting a concussion, had just been criminally misused the way that Punk was. After being in the world title scene, all of a sudden being busted down into tag teaming with whatever scrub they paired him up with, Daniel Bryan would be getting those same chants.
Okay, but my other question, and this is where I'm thinking, could it also just be because CM Punk was such an indie darling? Same with Daniel Bryan at that time. You rattled off the rest of those guys. Mm-hmm. They weren't big on the indie scene because the indie scene really wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
But CM Punk got his first, he became a name in Ring of Honor and got to where he was. And that's why I wonder, is there a different type of fan that followed these guys and then got attracted to WWE? And they're the same people that, I don't know, they just can't get over the point that, hey, my best friend said, fuck off, I'm leaving. And you can't get over it. And there's a point where, Terry, I just got to shake you a little. It's been almost 5 years, man.
I know.
He's not coming back.
Here's the difference, though. Let's talk to those indie guys. Those indie guys have to get over organically, because when you're in a crowd, when you're around 10 to 20 people in a high school gymnasium, you had better learn how to compel them to buy into what you are doing. And these guys who don't come up through the indie system, who get the NXT, who just get you start off with a big fat crowd right away. That's a different animal altogether, man. They're not. CM Punk is not Baron Corbin, okay? And that's no diss to Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin just simply went through a different system. I actually like Baron Corbin. I think his character is fun.
Well, you and he's other person.
Yeah, look, I like him. I think he's a fun heel, okay? But CM Punk and Daniel Bryan and the AJ Styles of the world, man, they had to get over organically, and that skill set that they picked up simply carried over to their time in WWE. They just had that thing and that storytelling ability that gets people to buy in, and gets them to buy in so much that even 5 years later, we still want him to come back. I mean, dude, Daniel Bryan was not medically cleared, and people still held out that level of hope for him to come back. And you know what? If Daniel Bryan's brain can heal up to that point, I would like to think that Carlos Mencia Punk, I would like to think that his heart can heal enough to come back one day as well.
Oh my God.
And from now on, his name is Carlos Mencia Punk.
I am still worried about you. That's all I got to say.
Call me, Phil. Call me. Let's talk, baby.
So in other words, there's nothing I could do to try and make you rationalize that he's not coming back.
Oh, no.
And so is there a point where fans like yourself are finally going to go, well, yeah, I guess he's not coming back? I mean, seriously, he just did an interview where he said, no effing
heel
way.
Game. Just a heel game. He's just working. You worked yourself into a shoot, brother.
He beat Vince McMahon's doctor in court. He's not coming back. Vince doesn't want him back. Triple H hates him. Even if he did come back, maybe New Japan, maybe back to Ring of Honor, and I don't even see that happening. No. But why? I mean, that's the one thing. Why? Why is it that all fans are so adamant he's coming back, not just to wrestling, but he has to come back to WWE when the guy doesn't want to do anything? His wife quit the damn federation because he hated it so much.
Well, to be fair, if I had that level of quality time available with that wife, that would be pretty fun. I can see why he wouldn't want to go back to work and just hang out with Ms. AJ for a bit there. But it's the potential, though. It's the potential stories. It's the potential to just see. I want to see him run in GTS Hideo Itami into oblivion. And oh my God, that would be an amazing feud. Hell, CM Punk could make 205 Live great again.
By
although
2K19.
It actually is pretty good all by itself. But I'm just telling you, dude.
You still believe in Santa? Okay.
Look, if Santa had a Pepsi tattoo and a Cobra tattoo, I just might, John. I'm just saying, I believe that anything is possible in this world. I do, however, also believe that some things are more probable than others. And when you're talking millions of dollars on the line, look, at some point, that sumbitch's mortgage is going to come due. At some point, the McMahons and the Triple H's are going to want some big draw to happen at WrestleMania or whatever.
He's doing comic books. He's doing signings. He makes plenty of money. He doesn't need to. He doesn't need to abuse his body anymore. He doesn't need to put up with the politics bullshit. He can just be himself, do whatever the hell he wants, and he's even said he wants to get his ass kicked again in MMA. Whatever.
Sure he does, but at some point you get tired of being punched in the face, don't you? I mean, look, Rocky can do whatever he wants to, but he still comes back to WWE because it's an easy payday. You come in, you squash Eric Rowan, you walk away with a fat paycheck.
If Rocky doesn't do WWE, he's not the highest paid movie star. We all know that. Remember the Tooth Fairy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll grant you that. But hell, even Jericho bounces all over the place too. I'm just saying, it's a new landscape, and that landscape has room for Captain Mendoza Punk, okay? It does. It absolutely does.
All right, Terry, I'll tell you what. We're going to have to start having some sessions. Maybe someday we'll get you off of this and you will not be hooked on CM Punk.
Call me, Phil.
And if you would do me a favor, you can take the tape off your hands now, okay?
Straight edge.
That's right.
Got the X's drawn on.
He's not coming back, man.
Straight edge society. I'm not that straight edge. I'm actually drinking vodka as we freaking record this. Save me from myself, Phil. I miss you. I need you back in WWE.
He doesn't care.
Or New Japan. Or Ring of Honor.
He doesn't care, man.
Dude, you want to be on Lucha Underground?
No.
You and Johnny Nitro?
He's got
Johnny
better
Mundo?
things to do. He's doing movies now.
Who CM Punk is?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Yeah. There you go. No
Come
wrestling
back, Phil.
for him.
Come back, Phil.
He doesn't need him. Sorry, man. You can just go back to the network, go back 4.5 years, and relive all the magic over and over.
Punk.
All right, folks. I hope you enjoyed our Under the Ring report this week. And Tom, as usual, it's always a pleasure. Let's make sure people check out the website, listen to us, subscribe to the podcast, and as always, follow us on Twitter. We've always got something going on. UTRR Podcast. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time here on the Under the Ring Report.
You're listening to Under the Ring Report, where you can hear everybody's favorite wrestler, that's me, Rob Van Dam, the whole effing show.
Follow the Under the Ring Report on Twitter at UTRR Podcast. You can subscribe to the Under the Ring Report on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher, or visit undertheringreport.com. Thanks for listening to the Under the Ring Report.